and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Bell?
Here.
Trustee Brewer? Here. Trustee Gray?
He's absent, excuse that.
Trustee Jazinski? Here. Trustee Todd? Here. Trustee Williams? Here.
I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session for discussion of personnel matters. So moved.
I'm sorry, you add pending litigation, because I brought that.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. And also pending litigation. So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Bell, second by Trustee Todd. Any questions? Madam Clerk?
Trustee Bell?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer? Yes. Trustee Grant? Trustee Jazinski? Yes. Trustee Todd? Yes. Trustee Williams? Yes.
Motion carried.
Yes. Trustee Todd? Yes. Trustee Williams? Trustee Bell?
Yes. Motion is carried. Okay, item number 5, public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Speakers may comment on any matter pertaining to the business of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed one opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate, counter, replies, or rebuttals. I will hear all minutes before, hear all comments before responding. Please state your name.
Parker. Just before I left the house, there were gunshots. This seems to be like a common occurrence that's happening frequently, and something needs to be done. It can't continue. We need to have more police visibility in the neighborhoods, maybe a better police force. And I believe the police knows about some of the truck houses that are out there, and they've known about it for years. It's time to do something about it. That's my comment.
Rose Ketchum. I was up here Sunday night for Bluegrass, and number one, I thought Kevin would be here today and I could tell him, but in the bathroom of the women's bathroom, there's 2 stalls that are leaking when you flush, so they better check that out. And another thing, I was wondering, why wasn't the agenda posted? I also checked on that to see how long the meeting would last tonight, and it wasn't there. That's all.
Nanette Wargo, when will you have a budget meeting? When will you have a budget in place? It seems to me that the prior board was very thoughtful as a lame duck board not to pass a budget. But then new people come in and they have input, but the input is not being recognized, and so you still do not have a budget. Every week that goes by that you haven't achieved a proper budget is costing you more and more money. Every week when you come to a meeting, we hear of, we need to repay an Osmond grant, we are behind in our pension payments. Something needs to be done immediately. Putting it off is only burying you deeper in debt. Please, get busy, get a budget. It's going to be tough, and you're going to cut people, and you're going to be the meanies, but you're going to have to be, because the town is going to die if you
Daniel Ward. Mayor, I would like to say I appreciate the follow-up that you followed up on when I was last here about the alcohol being sold next to the daycare centers. I also did a follow-up with the owners. And, I want to say the owner of the liquor store down, I think Tony's, they had a guy there. I actually talked to him, and he had like a rambunctious approach, but I didn't pay any attention to it. You can't pay attention to ignorance. What I ended up doing was I just spoke about it. I let them know that it was a concern because I did some surveillance watch myself, and I actually seen these guys sell alcohol to young men, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of subversive activities going on in the neighborhood. Like she said, she heard gunshots coming out. It's not really the police's fault because these children are not afraid. I want to say from what I've seen, I actually seen the officers do their job, but it's their job to protect us as well. Another thing as well, I talked to the liquor store owner here, that's right here on Sauk Trail and Torrance, and he had a pretty better approach about it. He said he's gonna look into it to try not to sell alcohol during the hours that the daycare center is open. Because I approached him and let him know that I seen them sell alcohol to parents when they were picking their children up. That's it. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Larry Sapp. There's been a lot of fluctuation with this budget matter, and I share the concerns of the lady, but she wanted to know when will we have a meeting. I'm not concerned with when we'll have a next budget meeting. I'm concerned with when will we get a budget passed. We have a lot of things going on in that budget that's baffling me, with cuts being made, concerns about money here and money there, but you want to cut the salaries of people, slice out jobs, and at the same time give raises. It just don't make sense. It doesn't make economical sense for the village. My question then is, when will we actually pass a budget? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Henrietta Favors, and I'm a resident of Sauk Village.
Talking to Mike? Hold the mic down.
My name is Henrietta Favors, and I'm a resident of Sauk Village.
Let's start over so you can have all your time. Okay?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Henrietta Favors, and I'm a resident of Sauk Village. Good evening,
Still,
Mr. Mayor.
excuse me, I'm sorry. Still can't hear you. You need to, I guess, pull it down.
She told me to move.
Yeah.
Can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, there
All
you
right,
go.
great. All right, my complaint is about the streetlights. We're talking about we need more police and everything. We need these lights fixed in our communities. You can't see anything. It's a hazard to you. So if they get whoever is in charge of it, they need to do what they need to do. We blame everything on the mayor, but we need to get whoever he put in charge of doing the streetlights to fix them. And that's all I have to say.
James Harvey. Two questions. What happened to the minutes that we used to get? And what happened to the accounts payable we used to get? It used to be out here for the residents to see, both of them.
Couch, just to let the residents be aware of what is going on in some of the neighborhoods. This past week, there have been a group of young men going door to door, banging on people's doors, and then telling them, if the people answer their door, that they are collecting money for jerseys and football paraphernalia for Bloom Trail. That is not true. One of the residents went to Bloom Trail, she's not here tonight, to explain what happened. Those kids are not representing Bloom Trail. Bloom Trail does not ask kids to go around without proper identification when they go door to door, if they go door to door. So these kids are doing this and not representing Bloom Trail. That's number one. Also last week, I was here at Village Hall for a meeting, and while I was here, I got a phone call from my neighbor. He said, someone's trying to break into your house. Just happened to be close enough to the police department. I called, and immediately, within seconds, they were there. There were 3 men, came to my door. They were arrested, and by the time I got up here with my video, they were released and let back out on the street. So this is what we're facing as residents. And the officer told me these people that were doing this, they didn't get in my house, but I do have video of them. And this is what goes on daily, because they're in the neighborhoods. So we are not safe, and as a senior, I don't feel safe. So just for thought.
Judy Cast here. I got up last week and I talked about an incident that occurred behind the Village Hall on July 11th. And I did say something to Trustee Gary Bell as far as the safety issues went, and I must apologize because at the time I was unaware that you're just a liaison for the public. I don't know what you're supposed to do once you get it, but I don't know. I'm concerned about this incident because my police report indicates things I did not say. I asked about this over and over, and the mayor kept saying he didn't get a police report, but he was going to meet with the chief after the meeting. Therefore, I assumed that everything would be taken care of then. I was only looking for why. Why was this done? I've talked to people. I talked to state troopers. They said there are criminal charges there. There are also elder abuse charges that could be tacked onto it. My report indicates that it might be a political feud, which I made very clear was not the case. But the case is closed and there's nothing further that can be done. Although I do have a witness, she is here tonight. I feel let down. I'm not looking for anything but an answer. And I can't get it. And I think that's extremely sad. When you have the capability and it's not being used. And it comes from both sides, the police department as well as Mr. Burgess. And it wouldn't take 5 minutes to get an answer. I also am encouraging the trustees to do whatever you have to do. Get this budget done. Get it passed and let's move on.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, board members. Arnold Coleman. I just want to be specific as to the lights that are out in the village. In particular, right at the entrance of Jeffrey Avenue from 218 to 217 Place, there's two lights out. At the very intersection of 217 Place at Jeffrey's, which is an intersection, there's no light at all. When I know there should be, and there at one time was. Then there's also a light on that very same place, 217th Place, right at the end of Peterson. So who's ever in charge of taking care of this, Mr. Mayor, I mean, I'd like to know who they are, by the way, and maybe so that I can address them directly, but that's okay with you all, to let them know specifically where these lights are out at.
Mary Escobedo, just for the record, I am Judy Cass' witness. I was sitting out in the parking lot in a car when I saw Mary Klopp come out with that garbage can and put it right behind Judy's car. So I just want that on record, that I am her witness. I did see it. Thank you.
Bernadine Hopkins. I'm asking about the sidewalks in the present condition. This is regarding the project where they fixed the street on 221st. Anyway, make a long story short, the curbs are not completed, and I see that they're causing a problem for the children when they're boarding for the school bus, because there's nothing there but mud. You either go in the mud or they're actually running out in the street going around to the curb to get back to the sidewalk. So I'm hoping somebody looks into that before something happens. The other thing I'd like to know is what is the procedure for calculating the water bills? I'd like to know if there's excuse me, some way where I could get this information in writing so that I can kind of understand what's going on. And I asked that question because I had a small water bill a couple of months ago, and it basically tripled this month for no apparent reason. So I'd like to know how that occurred. The final thing is Robertson Engineering. If I'm not mistaken, there was a grant or something, or some procedure, whereas you all, well, they did not complete an action. And I think a grant or something was lost. Anyway, to make a long story short on that, what I'd like to know is, I heard that there was going to be some compensation regarding that matter. I'd like to know if there was compensation and the amount. Thank you.
Okay, the gunshot problems and the policing problems, I'm sure the chief has heard everything. It's sad to hear that you don't feel safe in Sauk Village. I'm really sad to hear that. However, we know that, people carry guns, and to say that we can stop them from shooting would be ludicrous, to tell you that we can stop someone from actually shooting a weapon. But the chief has been on top of, as I said before, the police cannot stop. They react to what happens. So, but unfortunately, it happens everywhere, that there's gunshots. Increasing the police, and I don't want someone to take this out of context, increasing the police will not stop somebody from shooting someone. It may deter, but will it stop someone from shooting? I doubt it. That's just my personal opinion. as a person, not as mayor that I'm saying this about the village, but increasing police presence where I don't feel will stop someone from shooting another person. Budget. Well, there's going to be a budget meeting that was scheduled and was talked about last week on October 19th here at the Village Hall at 7 o'clock. At that time, I'm
9
hoping.
o'clock. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
Well, that's Saturday, right?
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock Saturday, October 19th. I'm hoping that will we'll move forward with that and go from there when that comes. Street lights are a problem. The Public Works Department chairman is not here, but I will relay it again to him to let him know because I don't know if it's the problem with the wiring, the lights itself, but there's a lot of street lights out in the village. And that is a problem. So people can hide in certain areas. And if there's a light there, it should be lit. So that's something that I will pass along, and I'm sure Mr. Williams is here. He heard it too. So, and we've also talked. So that problem we will reiterate. The minutes and the accounts payable. The minutes are usually on display after they're passed. The accounts payable usually we present that after the fact because it can change. Because the accounts payable you have today may not be the one that was passed. So that's the reason why that's not put out there, because something may have changed on it, added or taken away. So, but if it's out there and it gets disseminated, people will say, well, you said you passed this, and that may not be a fact. So that's why that's not there. I'm sorry to hear about the incident as far as people that were at your house and they were let out. That's something that I don't know matter of fact, I don't know anything about that particular incident. I don't know what happened. I don't know why that person was arrested and then let go. So, but I'm not going to bring that. I'm not going to ask you or ask the chief to elaborate on that right now. I'm going to say after the meeting, because it's a lot of things involved in that. And to answer that, then it may be something that may be incriminating. I don't want to bring it up to say, well, the mayor said this, and how come that happened, and all that. So I'm sure you said you talked to the chief. I'm sure he explained to you, but he does not control the courts. So the courts told him to let him go, and he has no choice but to do that. Parking lot incident, as you said, was closed, so I was still trying to get a report to find out what was going on before I say anything about it, and I haven't gotten one, so, I'm sorry that happened. I was told that it was where the can is always goes, but if you say you have a witness, then you should have pressed charges. You can do that if you have a witness. So if the police report is there, if you want to press charges against someone, you can do that, but it's a double-edged sword too. Sidewalks on 221st Street. I was out the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, and saw several sidewalks that weren't yet completed. But the 221st Street was, and some of the curbs were. I'm just assuming, because my public works director is not here, that either they ran out of cement or, but I'm sure that those sidewalks will be taken care of. There's special sidewalks, the handicapped accessible. So there could have been something where they had to make sure that, because all those sidewalks in those corners, the new ones that are put in have to be handicapped accessible. And they're barricaded, most of them have barricades, so I don't see why somebody would want to step in there and see a barricade there, but most of those sidewalks have barricades. Water bills, your sewer bill went up. And that was done at the first, I think end of last month, first of this month. So your water bills have gone up because we raise the water bills every year. I mean, we had put it in the, there was a ordinance put in place to fund the unfunded mandates that were brought by the state that we have to do with our sewer. So the water rates didn't go up, but the sewer rates did, and also your garbage bill. So I don't think your bill should have tripled, but your bill did increase because the water rates, the sewer rates went up, and also the garbage rates went up 3%. As far as Robinson Engineering, I think we were given a check for that amount for a refund. That was because what happened was the Island grant that was brought to the village a few years ago wasn't fulfilled. I think it was in 2015. There was a bid went out for someone to do the landscaping for that Island grant. The reason why it's called Island grant because it was in Island Park. And that money, the person that made the bid underbidded themselves, and then they found out, they figured out that they couldn't do what they said they could do for that amount of money, but we had the grant, and the grant was only for a certain amount. So we didn't, the village at that time didn't do anything but to get the engineering firm, which they're supposed to go out and do the engineering for us to find out what we have to do, but the landscaper backed out. Conversely, we weren't able to finish that. That was before I became mayor, and then the only thing we could do was give the money back to Island, and then also anything that was involved in that financially, we were supposed to get a refund for that, and I think that was. So, that being said, we'll move on to reports of officers. I don't have a report tonight. Village clerk, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and know that I really do not have a report, but I just have to say that I am totally astounded that not one set of minutes were even looked at. I don't know where it's written that your meeting packets fall under the guise of Open Meetings Act, in that there's no place that I know that states that you have to have your meeting materials before Sunday. There's no place that I know, even though it's ideal. And you know what is so remarkable also? Is just a couple of weeks ago, I was hounded and dogged out because I was trying to get the budget to trustees in order for you to have sufficient time. And I was told, and in writing, and all over Facebook, that as long as I get the minutes to you, get the budget, as long as you all get the budget to everyone by 7 o'clock on Sunday, everything is fine. Now let me share something else with you. Because I put your main packets together, and they were in your box by 12:30 on Friday. And when I came in Monday, guess what? The majority of your packets that I placed on Friday were still there. So, had I not emailed you your minutes early Sunday afternoon, you still would not have had the minutes until Monday. So to say that you did not have sufficient time to read minutes, that's not something that I think that I would have wanted to have written and heard on tape. So I would say that I think that maybe you need to look at that in the future, because all 5 of you voted to table those minutes. And let me share, I shared with you all, I worked all weekend trying my very best to get caught up on our minutes so that you can remember and recall actions that's taking place here. And I gave it 14 hours. And to be here now, and you wouldn't even go over one set of minutes, and one set is only 1 page long. That's just, it boggles my mind. And that's all that I have to say.
I want to go back, and I see that the treasurer is here. Some of the questions, I don't know if you want to cover it in your report, Mr. Finch, were asked about the budget. I don't know if you, because I don't want to answer for you, so I don't know if you would like to cover that. When the budget is going to be ready, when is the budget going to be passed, what's holding the budget up? So those are some of the things that were asked. So if you want to answer those now, do you want to wait till you give your report?
I can wait till I give my report.
Thank you. Okay, Village Administrator, Mr. Christopher Williams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Williams. I'm just going to give a brief report. I actually submitted something a little bit more detailed, but for purposes of now, I kind of drafted a 3-month plan in which there's 4 categories that I'll be concentrating on, and that's operations, fiscal management, external relations, community engagement, and also our communication tools that we have here at the village. With that said, I'm just going to quickly highlight some of the things that I feel like are pressing that I'll be addressing. Our contracts, some fiscal oversight, some online platforms that can better streamline some things. We're also, one of the things I will let you all know, I will be at the next chief meeting, in which if you have questions that you just want to talk to me, not trying to monopolize the chief time, I'll be available, and I'll be making more times available in which you can just have some time to talk to me directly. Also, we'll be continuing with our staff meetings, and we'll be addressing some of the issues that will be brought up. Also forthcoming, you'll be hearing more plans about re-engaging the community, as well as our direction and focus on our 2050 plan. And I think that's about all that I'll share. There's more details in my memo, but that's for now. All right, I'm good with that.
Village Attorney Mike McGrath.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Village Engineer Mr. Jim Zarnick.
Thank you, Mayor. The next phase of the MWRD's infiltration and inflow control program has begun. The MWRD requires inspection work to continue beyond the high-risk area initially inspected several years ago. Robinson staff have started manhole inspections that will continue through at least November. 2 Robinson field personnel will be removing the lids from the manholes throughout the village, observing the condition of the manholes, grading the manhole condition based on NASCO defect coding standards, and then documenting their findings. Given the available budget, when they are finished with approximately 60% of the village's manholes will have been inspected. The manhole inspections are intended to identify structural defects that contribute infiltration and inflow, provide an inventory of structure types and construction materials used, identify new manholes or buried missing manholes to update sewer atlases, and identify leaking frames, lids, walls, and pipe connections. In the short term, the results of the manhole inspections will be reported to the MWRD for the Infiltration and Inflow Control Program Annual Report. In the long term, after 5 years of sewer system inspections, a list of recommended repairs will be compiled. Then the plan is for the village to apply for an IEPA low interest loan to repair approximately 25% of the village's sewers and 50% of the village's manholes. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Zarnick, when was the last time something like this was done?
Back in the 1980s.
Because I'm just wondering, there's an ongoing problem in a few areas where they're flooding all the time. I'm just wondering, would they, well, you said in the 80s, so I don't know, but there are problems of constant, every time we get a heavy rain, this area seems to flood. And I'm just wondering, the last time this was done, so what it would cost and how would they address that, and where would they actually put the flow or put pipes or whatever to alleviate that, what can they do? So I'm sure I'll be more than happy to see that report to see where they feel the problem is, and quite naturally, we already know where the problem is at. So, and I saw them out there working, I saw them out there measuring, and, but I just was wondering when's the last time you were back in the 80s, so, thank you. Treasury report, Mr. Anthony Finch.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you, Mayor, Board, Madam Clerk. Before I start, I guess I can address, you said there was questions about the budget. When is it going to be ready? Why is it not passed? As you, the Board and the Mayor knows, the last budget that I sent out was 9/24, 9/25, somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact date. Prior to that, we had a budget that was sent out 9/5. The last budget was probably about the 8th revision, so we have had several changes with the budget. Some of the things that are not in the budget now, originally I did put in all the requests that the trustees required, with the exception of one change, and that was required of the mayor. So as of 9/5, everything was in the budget. The main sticking point of passing that budget was where we're gonna get the money from. Even though this is the 8th revision of the budget, the only thing that has not changed, we only have about $5.7 million in anticipated revenue. So any expenses above that amount will have to be explained or where it's going to come from. Mainly, most of that is going to come from the water fund, which at this point has not been agreed upon. As you guys are aware of, about a week or 2 weeks ago, we had a big concern with the police and fire pension. A letter was received during the time it was at IML, I think. At that time, I did go back into the budget and I made cuts with every department with the exception of Public Works and Water. I cut the police department, the administration department. I think I cut a little bit out of ESTA. I cut the fire department. That was the budget that I submitted 9/24. That budget, in my opinion, is roughly balanced. It needs about $750,000 to be transferred to the general fund to balance the general fund, because as you remember, when I first got here, I mentioned that the general fund, just the general fund, not the overall fund of the village, is $2 million in the hole. So my process was to make cuts that was fair and balanced throughout the village and the departments. No personnel has been cut from the budget. The one change that I did make in the budget prior to the after the 9/5 budget, I did reduce the anticipated increases for the 2 particular union contracts we have. Cut the increases down to half. So that was the only impact that may impact employees. But at the end of the day, they still received an increase, given the fact that we did have to pay the police and fire union. Since that time, I have spoken with the fire police board, and to not have an intercept go to the state, which basically said the state would control a certain amount of money that the village would not be able to get until we fund the police pension. They agreed to allow the village to pay an additional $100,000 into the pension between now and April 2020, 2020, and as well the fire department agreed to take $50,000 between now and April 2020 to not also go to the state. So pretty much that's about all I have with the budget. It's up to you guys to decide when you want to pass it, because like I said, everything that was put in the budget was put in the budget, but then subsequent to the police and fire letter, I took those items out of the budget. But if we put them back in the budget, we have to find where that money is going to come from. And the only option is to raise taxes, take it out of water fund, or cut services. So In my opinion, I think the budget can be passed whenever you guys choose to vote on it. That's the end of the comments I have for the budget. Going on to my treasury report, in front of you guys have the cash balances. In the corporate fund, as of this evening, we have $410,163,000. In the reserve, we still have the $800,000 that we have not touched. The special account, we have $102,629. The water sewer fund is $1,016,969. In the other water and sewer fund account that we have $288,404. In the cell tower account, we have $301. The waste management account, we have $106. We still have the $500,000 available for the line of credit. So as of tonight, we have a little bit over $3,118,572 for available use. In the restricted funds, the CN account, we have $42,218. The DA account, we have $103,324. In the Sauk Village Housing account, we have $1,417. In the TIF account, we have $534,955. In the toll account, we have $13,665. In the money laundering account for holding, we have $6,761. In the spending drug account, we have $24,109. In the spending money laundering account, we have $890. In the MFT account, we have $300,178. For a total restricted fund balance of $1,027,517. That concludes my treasury report.
Thank you. Do you have anything for the reports for finance and administration?
I have the accounts payable and payroll disbursement. The payroll for the last payroll was $127,485.57. That was as of September 27th. The accounts payable for this week is $313,769.08 for a total disbursement of $441,254.65. And that concludes my report.
Fire Department, Dennis Sunaway, Captain Dennis Sunaway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The fire department responded to 30 calls for service for the period from September 20th through October 3rd. There were no major incidents to report. Assistant Chief Myers, along with firefighters, will be visiting the schools and daycares for Fire Prevention Week. This is going on this week. The children will be given an opportunity to go through the safety trailer. Fire safety information will be passed out. Members of our department will also participate in parades to South Holland and Park Forest to honor those firefighters who gave their lives to the service of others. I would ask everyone to keep the firefighters in your prayers. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Police Department, Chief Malcolm White.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Village Board. Let's start with October 17th at 6 p.m. I'll say it again. October 17th at 6 p.m. That's the third Thursday of the month. We have the chat with the chief. I mention this at every meeting for a reason, because it gives the citizens much needed information. You don't always hear what you want to hear, but what you'll get is important information to where you'll explain, where you will know what to expect from your police department and know how you can help us help you. Those of you who are interested in getting this additional information towards crime prevention and community policing, that's why we have these meetings, and I encourage everyone to come out. The calls for service report from the period of 9/25/2019 to October 8th, 2019, the police department answered 434 calls for service. During that same time period, the police department had a total of 5 arrests. Next, I have some officers here that I need to present with awards, Mr. Mayor. I might need a hand handing them out if you could. Gentlemen, as I call your name, please step forward in front. And I will read off the commendation. We always hear, in every village, the police department is an easy target, right? We can't be everywhere at all times. However, the good things that I do hear is, well, I did call and they were there right away. Sometimes there's certain things, that's why I have chat with the chief, so that the citizens will know what to expect. Sometimes we get there a little too early to collect for them to have done the actual crime that we thought they were going to commit. And you have to have a certain amount of criteria for whatever crime. But, I'm proud to say that these gentlemen go out and give it 100% every day. They take pride in what they do. They're very sensitive to the citizens' needs. And I'm proud of these guys. The crew that we're working with, they're respected throughout the south suburbs. As I call them off, I will give you some of their accolades. Sergeant Jack Evans. Sergeant Evans is our detective sergeant. He's on the major crime task force. All of those major crimes that you see, the homicides and all of that, places like Dalton, we've had them here, Chicago Heights, Calumet City, even throughout the south suburbs. He's on the major crimes task force. That means that a person from your department is respected enough and has enough credentials and is that crack that he is included on the major investigations in the south suburbs. Sergeant Christopher Mizak. Sergeant Mizak has dedicated the last 19 years. By the way, Sergeant Evans has been here 20 years as well. Sergeant Mizak has dedicated the last 19 years to this police department. He's also very respected throughout the south suburbs. He's a member of the SWAT team. It's actually called the South Suburban Emergency Response Team. He is second in charge of the entire team with over 50 departments. You have an excellent police department. Canine Officer Chad Fredrickson. Officer Fredrickson has much fewer years than his senior officers there, but he's our canine officer. He's called upon by several other departments to assist them. He's been a very aggressive officer, highly respected, a lot of arrests, a lot of open cases, good cases with Markham Courthouse. Officer Michael Huffnagel. Officer Huffnagel is dedicated the last 12 years to this police department. He is also SWAT trained. He is one of our day shift officers. We rely on him for numerous things such as the taser instruction and other intermediate weapons. Officer Matthew Zilas. Officer Zilas is one of our newer officers. Thank you, sir. He comes from Crestwood, was it? He came in we hired him from Crestwood Police Department. He was a real steal. He is one of our sharpest officers on day shift. In fact, he is the one who triggered this whole investigation. All right. On June 3rd, 2019, Detective Sergeant Evans, Sergeant Mizak, Canine Officer Fredrickson, Officer Huffnagel, and Officer Zilas responded to the area of 221st Street and Merrill Avenue in reference to an armed robbery. While en route to that area, responding officers received a description and direction of travel from Calcom Dispatch Center. By the way, that dispatcher that worked that call, she was given also a letter of recognition as a result of this call. Officer Zilis went directly to the scene and met with the victim while the other responding officers set up a perimeter. These officers reacted quickly and decisively in establishing information to the crime and utilizing the information given to close in on the armed offender, later determined to be a convicted felon with a parole status. The offender was taken into custody without further incident. With the assistance of the victim and other witnesses, the offender was positively identified as the culprit in a violent incident. As a result, Class X felony charges were approved by Cook County State's Attorney's Office. The exceptional and dedicated efforts shown by each officer and supervisor has brought credit upon themselves, the Sauk Village Police Department, and the citizens of Sauk Village. Please give them a hand.
I want to reiterate, I just want to reiterate, on behalf of this board and on behalf of the residents, you guys are a great, and I mean a great police force. Without you guys, I don't know what we would do, and I don't know why people would say any different, but I've seen you guys at work, especially the two that have been here forever, and they're a mainstay here in the village. And we're glad to have them and have the youth and have the police department that we have. Thank you guys very, very much. I don't know. Did you get a picture? You got a picture of that?
I have one more.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, Chief, you need to get in.
Yes,
Thank you. Congratulations again. Oh, you got one more?
You've been here forever. Yeah, I know.
We have one more award to give, which was actually given last week, but I wanted it to be official. Could Officer Justin Hickman please step forward?
Wait a minute, he just started.
All right.
He just started. Brand new out of school. Graduate.
Most of you remember Officer Hickman from last week or last board meeting where we swore him in. His partner is also here, Officer Sheridan. But I brought Officer Hickman back for a reason. In the police academy, they hand out several awards for different accolades and accomplishments for officers. There's a certain award it's referred to. Over the years, they've changed the name several times. It's now called the Most Outstanding Recruit Award. This award is given to the officer who has not only performed well, but every other officer in that class voted to have him, that if they had to pick a partner anywhere, they would pick him. That says a lot. It says a lot about his character. It says a lot about his leadership capability. Those 5 gentlemen that you had up here are leaders. They're leaders throughout the South Suburbs. They're leaders in their industry. Again, we're going to welcome, and we have welcomed this officer as well as the other ones into our ranks. But I did want to officially present him in front of the mayor and the village board with his Most Outstanding Recruit Award from Chicago Police Academy. Thank you, Village Board. Thank you, Ms. Mayor. That ends my report.
Okay, Economic Development and Community Development Interim Director, Ms. Tanya McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was an outstanding report from Chief White. I appreciate you and what you bring to the community with the police department. My report will consist of what we're doing in the community development department, along with the other department heads, to make small, impactful changes in the community. One of the things that we are considering is doing a garbage can, kind of keep the village clean program, where we have garbage cans around the community that have murals on them from the students, kind of like how they design the stickers for the vehicles each year. We're going to have it where they will do the murals for the garbage cans placed throughout the community. Another project, which is in phase 1, that we are really looking to do is the Carroll Peterson project, where we're going to block off the Carroll and Peterson avenues. So it's like a no throughway. And hopefully that will make a positive impact in that area. And this is just phase 1 of that. Again, making small, impactful changes to the community, hopefully will make big, impactful changes in the future. Want to mention that the IDA grant program for the cutting the grass, that ended October 1st. Although they're going to do one more round since the weather was so warm, of some of the grasses that actually grew a little higher than we anticipated for the season. So they'll resume that program again back in next June 1st. So let's see. We are really working on getting a grocery store. That is our main priority in economic development. I know that, we want to make sure that Sauk Village does not remain a food desert, so to speak. So we are definitely working on getting a grocery store. That takes time. A lot of developers, when they spend millions and millions of dollars on stores, they do look at the whole totality of the community. So that just takes some time, but we are working on it. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Reports of trustees, standing committees, and comments. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Gary Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Safety Committee, we have another meeting on the 15th, next Tuesday, 11 a.m. here in the Rotunda. And also, Mr. Mayor, the majority of the board trustees has presented a final budget directive to the village administrator. It is imperative and that these directives be followed. First thing in the morning, our goal is to have a final budget available for everyone tomorrow at the latest, and to pass the budget next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Any necessary arrangements for the budgets will occur after the budget has been approved. Thank you.
Are you asking, or are you?
Well, I think that's going to be the next part of my thing, is I'd like to have that put on a schedule for next Tuesday.
You're asking to have you will have a special meeting for the purpose of passing them.
Passing budget.
What time?
6 p.m. Tuesday.
Okay, is that in concurrence with the other trustees? Okay, right.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
That will conclude my report. Thank you.
And that's, okay, and you said 7 or 6?
6 p.m.
6. Okay. They don't want to, they're saying that they don't want to have to, yes. Public Service Committee, Trustee Bernice Brewer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For Public Service Committee, a lot of residents asked about the street lights. The last update I got from Kevin, from the Public Works Director, is that we have 55 street lights out of service. At least 6 of them are having ComEd issues, so he's working on that. Now that we had 6 Public Works employees at one time, now we're down to 5, because I think one is going on sick leave, or is on sick leave. Kevin is working diligently in getting these streetlights on. He's also working on fire hydrants, what we have that need fixing right away, but we're still waiting on the 943 from the state in order to get the money to fix up those fire hydrants. And let's see, what else did I have? I'll check with Kevin again and make sure when is the last update. I mean, the last update I got was September, so things haven't changed, I don't think that much, but I'll check and make sure. And that's the end of my report.
When you said 943, what do you mean?
943,000.
And that's for the capital grant money?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for the fire hydrants.
No, fire hydrants were 500,000.
I know that's a portion of it. We
I'm
got
just
a
saying,
total of
okay.
943,000.
So you're waiting on, in other words, you're waiting on the capital bill
Our
money
portion to
for
finish the
that.
hydro- yeah.
Okay. Housing and Intergovernmental Relations, Trustee Sherry Jazinski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. October 16th, the Housing Committee will be meeting. Hopefully, we will have 2 ordinances to review for the inspection process. One is for house sale, and then one is for the rental properties. One of them has been completed. I'm still waiting for the other one. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Orders Review Committee, Trustee Linda Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next Ordinance Review Committee meeting is November 4th at 6 p.m. here in the Rotunda. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Public Events Committee, Trustee Debbie Williams.
There's 2 flyers on the back table. The first one is for Trunk or Treat. The Trunk or Treat this year will take place on Saturday, October 26th. Costume walk is at...
Your mic's not on.
Oh, it's not?
Okay. I'll repeat. The trunk or treat will take place on Saturday, October 26th, starting promptly at 11:30 a.m. at Rickover Junior High. The children will proceed with their costumes and the costume walk to the community center, weather permitting. If it's raining, we will not have the costume walk, but we still will be at the community center. We will have trunks filled with goodies for the kids. We have prizes for the best costume for kids and adults. We'll have refreshments, and we will have crafts. Anybody who wants to participate, either volunteer, donate candy, donate funds, please feel free to contact me, and I would be happy to include you in our events. We also have What's Happening in Sauk Village. This is actually a holiday, Halloween, What's Happening in Sauk Village. We tried to put as many of the local events in one flyer. So we do have the costume walk and trunk or treat on October 26th. On October 30th, the McConaughey Public Library will have their trunk and treat and spooky scavenger hunt. From 3:30 to 6 p.m., they'll have goodies, ghosts, and pizza. Oh my. October 31st, we have the Sauk Village Trick or Treat hours have been confirmed as 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Please leave your porch lights on and drive safely through the village while the trick-or-treaters are out. And also on October 31st, there's a harvest party and trunk or treat at 6 p.m. at the Crossroads Church at 23001 South Torrance Avenue. There will be games and trunks full of treats for all. So this is what I have up until this point. I know that there are others. As more events become available, I will make sure that I update this, and it will be available at the Village Hall and on the Village website. And I'd also like to thank the officers that received their awards tonight. Many accolades to Chief White and our amazing officers. I know the frustration of the residents. I am a resident. I live in an area where there's a lot of shooting. But I do realize the officers cannot be everywhere. I do encourage everyone to participate and chat with the chief on October 17th at 6 p.m. As far as the minutes, the trustees received an email Sunday afternoon after 3 o'clock saying the minutes for July 23rd and moving forward must be approved by noon on Monday. I'm sorry, but Sunday's family day. I received that email as I was leaving church. These minutes are extremely important, and I do not want to rush through the minutes of the meetings that took place over 2 months ago that were prepared over the weekend. So I apologize for not stopping my family day and the things that I needed to do to read the minutes, but I guarantee you by the next board meeting I will thoroughly review the minutes and be prepared to vote. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's the end of my report.
Reports of committees and commissions, Senior Advisory Council, Mr. Emmett Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board. Our next meeting for the Senior Advisory Council is Thursday, October 10th, 2019 at 5 p.m. It's this Thursday and all are welcome. Please don't forget our game night is every first and third Friday in the Senior Center from 6 to 10. Beer quiz and other games are available. Also, our committee members will be given bid quiz lessons from 6 to 7. Day at the casino has been rescheduled for October 30th, and that's going to be from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The cost is $35 per person. Please contact our treasurer, Carol Coleman, for more information, and her number is 773-426-0176 if you all need to call her. Come join us for our senior luncheon. We're going to have a senior luncheon on October 24th from 12 noon to 2 p.m. And hopefully all of you all can join us. We're going to have some great meals on that day. There's no cost. We're not charging anybody. They must be 50 years and over. And to RSVP, please contact Deborah Coney at 708-710-4564. And she has flyers kind of posted around the village hall. Also, come out and join our seniors for breakfast bingo every second and fourth Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And this second Friday, October 11th, is going to be real special treat for our seniors. We're having Silver Sneakers coming in, and they're going to do a presentation on fall prevention. You know, we have a lot of seniors that lose their balance in fall, so they're going to do fall prevention. And they'll be here immediately following the bingo for a 30-minute presentation. So please come out and join us. Also, we've been talking with Cedar, and Cedar is hopefully they have started doing what they do, you know, for October. So we're trying to get them out here as soon as possible so they can help the residents with the utility bills. Also, you have Medicare starting this month. It's Medicare season, and we're going to be opening the doors at the Senior Center to help our seniors with their Medicare Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And that concludes my report. Thank you all.
Thank you. New business. I entertain a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable and disbursements in the amount of $441,254.65. You don't want to pay bills? Okay, next motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we vote on payroll and separate the vote for accounts payable.
For what reason, trustee?
I make a motion.
I'm asking the question, for what reason?
Because I would like to vote on payroll separately from accounts payable.
Is there a reason, is all I'm asking, is there a reason why you're separating accounts payable?
Yes, I have a reason.
Okay, that's all I'm asking, what's the reason?
Mr. Mayor, as we go along, I'll state the motions.
All I'm asking you is what's the reason that you're separating accounts payable from payroll? That's all I'm asking. That's not a hard question, trustee.
I just said I want to pay payroll separately from accounts payable.
I understand that part. I'm asking why are you separating? What's the reason that you're pulling accounts payable Or you're separating them?
I wasn't aware there was a question as I go through the rest
This
of
is
the
a
accounts
question.
payable. As I go through the rest of the accounts payable, I will give you the motions and why I want them separated.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. I asked the question, why are you separating the accounts payable from payroll? That's a very easy question.
Mr. Mayor, I have issues with accounts payable. I would like to go on and make sure payroll is paid, but I have issues with accounts payable.
Payroll is going to always be paid because it's paid by ordinance.
I'm sorry, what?
Payroll is always going to be paid by ordinance. This appropriation is paid by ordinance. So that's not a problem. We don't vote on payroll sometimes when it doesn't fall on the board meeting, but it's paid by ordinance and we approve it at the following meeting. I'm just asking why is it separated? And your answer is that you want to eliminate some things out of accounts payable. Is that what your answer is?
And other things I want to do with accounts payable.
Can we just get out with the business?
All I'm asking is why are we separating? That's all I'm asking. And I'm asking, is it because you want to separate some things out of accounts payable?
Yes.
That's all. That's all I ask. That's the only, that's all I ask. Is a motion to,
Second already.
Vote on payroll. And
there's
and
a
the
motion,
second,
your motion is to pay payroll, correct?
vote on payroll.
Is your
yes.
motion
And
to accept payroll, correct?
motion to vote on payroll. That's what my motion reads.
Is your motion to accept payroll?
My motion, that's not what my motion reads.
I'm asking you. I don't know what it reads. There's not anything here. I don't see anything. I'm asking you, is your motion to accept payroll?
I would rather, you have to separate them first.
Oh, so your motion is to separate the two?
Yes.
And that was seconded by?
Trustee Williams.
Okay, so moved by trustee Brewer and seconded by trustee Williams to separate accounts payroll, accounts payable from payroll. Any questions? Madam Clerk.
Trustee Jazinski.
Yes.
Trustee Todd.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Bell.
Yes.
Trustee Grant. Trustee Brewer.
Yes.
Trustee
Motion.
Gray.
Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to pay payroll as presented in the amount of $127,485.57.
Second.
Moved by trustee Brewer, second by trustee Bell, that payroll be paid in the amount of $127,485.57. You have any questions? Madam Clerk.
Trustee Todd.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Bell.
Yes.
Trustee Brewer.
Yes.
Trustee Grant. Trustee Jazinski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to pay accounts payable with the exception of ADP, Alert All, and invoices for Barnes and Thornburg, Attorney Greg T. Mitchell, Haynes McKinney, and Olson and Sturts, which I move to be voted on individually.
Could you go over that again? What was the first? Okay, go ahead.
I motion to pay accounts payable with the exception of ADP, Alert All, and invoices for Barnes and Thornburg, Attorney Greg T. Mitchell, Kane McKinney, and Olson and Sturts, which I move to be voted on individually.
Second.
That was the last one. There's 6 invoices.
I'm trying to find Kane McKenna.
There's a second floor.
Trustee Williams, did you second it?
Yes, I did.
I thought I heard you say.
There are questions? I do have a question. What is it that you're looking for so we can know what to tell these vendors why they're not getting paid?
Mr. Mayor, as I go through the rest of the motions, you'll, it'll be
No,
apparent what I'm
you made
saying.
you made a motion to separate these different invoices.
You have to vote on this first if we're
No,
going to
I
separate.
have a question.
Okay.
My question.
I'm going to,
What?
I'm
My
going to
question is
restate
why.
the
No,
motion.
I've
and-
heard the motion, trustee. I'm asking you now, I have a question. Why are you not paying these invoices?
I didn't say that. I said I'm making a motion to pay the accounts payable with the exception of ADP, Alert All, and invoices for Barnes and Thornburg, Attorney Greg T. Mitchell, Kane McKinney, and Olson and Sturp, which I move to be voted on individually. As I get through them individually, I'll explain to why I want them taken
I
off
can't
of
pass
the
a
accounts
motion.
payable.
I have a question, that's what I'm saying. I have a question. I'm not going to accept the motion open-ended. I'm asking, why are you not paying, why are you taking these out or not paying them or whatever the case may be? That's all I'm asking. Why are you not paying these, or why did you separate these invoices? What's the reason? I just asked
Mr. Mayor, there's
for
a second
clarity.
on the floor.
And I have a question about the motion on the floor, trustee.
I believe the question was answered, Mr.
No,
Mayor.
it was not. She didn't tell me why she's not paying these. What I need to find out, I asked the question, when these vendors come and say why they didn't get their money, I need to know, to tell them what the board, the reason for it is. That's all.
Mr. Mayor, can I be recognized?
I'm asking, if you can answer the question on the floor is, why did you separate these invoices? Now, if you can answer that, then I'll accept that, I'll entertain that question. But if not, I still want to know why these invoices were pulled. That's all I'm asking. That needs to be stated for the record.
Okay, for the record, the motion
No, you
that we
made the
need to
motion.
discuss is to separate these items to be voted on individually. And at the time that they're voted on individually, discussion will take place. That's how the motion is reading, to separate these items.
So I cannot ask why these motions are being separated.
That would come up, I would assume,
No,
when
we're
the
not
items
assuming.
are brought. Mr. Mayor, you're holding up this motion.
No, I'm not holding anything up. I'm asking for a question. I'm asking
This is
for
a
an answer.
motion?
I'm asking for an answer. So I'll ask the attorney. I cannot ask why these are being separated? That's all I'm asking.
To be voted on individually and discussed individually.
Why are they being separated? To be voted
That's
on
an answer.
separately. You're taking them out separately.
And vote on them separately.
There's a motion and a second.
I understand that, trustee. I understand that. But I still haven't gotten an answer. Why are these being separated?
Mr. Mayor, again, I want to say that we're paying accounts payable with the exception of the 6 invoices, which we're going to vote on individually.
Why?
Once we get the motion, then we can explain. Once
You still haven't answered my question, trustee.
I just gave you
No,
an
you
answer.
didn't.
Okay.
You just said that you separated. I just want to know why. Is there a problem with that? What's the problem with answering that simple question? Why are you separating these invoices? They're part of accounts payable. Services were rendered. Why are you separating these and voting on them separate? That's the only thing I'm asking. Nobody seems to be able to answer that.
Can I be recognized, sir?
If it's gonna help this process out.
I have an issue with two of them,
Okay.
and they weren't voted on, they weren't voted on by the board for service.
What wasn't voted on, sir?
The retention of Gregory Mitchell and, the other's name, Mr. Mitchell and,
I didn't have to get I did not have to get I was being sued by the board.
Well, would you go
so I
to-
wasn't gonna get representation.
would
I
you or
was
would you
going-
not go to the third-party administrator?
No, I wouldn't have to do it. If I'm being separate, if I'm being, sued individually, I need to get a lawyer. I need to retain a lawyer, yes. Yes, I did. Well, the amount that was paid, period, it was all ludicrous. If we want to go there, if we want to discuss that, that's one thing. I thought we were asking, I'm asking why these invoices were separated. That's all I'm asking. But now, you want to go into why we spent all this money for the lawyer, that's a different aspect. I just asked the question, why did you separate these invoices? Because if your intentions is not to pay these invoices, then it's going to be a problem.
Now, if we vote on these separately, can you give the reason at that time?
That's when it's.
I'm saying.
Because that's what she's asking is to
Only
separate
thing
them
I'm
out.
saying is if your intention to separate these invoices and not pay them, there's going to be a problem. Services were rendered. Now you're going to cost the village more money because they will eventually get paid because services were rendered. You just can't come and say, oh, well, wait a minute, you did this for us, but we don't want to pay you.
So when we vote on them separately and we give the reason, for whatever the reason,
Okay.
okay, then you'll have a reason as to why they're not being paid.
But if you,
Right now, we have a motion
I'm
and a
saying,
second on the
trustee,
floor
Trustee, I'm saying.
to
that
separate out.
If you vote not to pay these invoices, it's going to cause more litigation. That's the only thing I'm saying. I mean, so you want to spend some more money, then fine, they're going to take us to court because services were rendered. So if you want to vote to separate them and not pay them for whatever reason, it's going to end up in court. It's going to cost much more money than these invoices are.
So are you refusing the motion?
No, I'm trying to find out so I can know why they were not. I didn't refuse anything. I asked a question, the same way you asked questions about certain things. I'm asking a question. I seem to can't get an answer. I'm trying to get an answer so I can have it on record. So when I do get asked why we didn't get paid, I can tell them. Excuse me. I didn't ask. Okay. I'm asking a question, so obviously we're not going to get an answer. Okay, just letting you know that if you don't pay bills that are presented for whatever reason you come up with, it's going to cause litigation. I'll ask that to the lawyer. Since you said the lawyer, Mr. McGrath, this board votes not to pay bills. Will there be ramifications? And if so, will we eventually have to pay those bills?
It depends on the bills. I can tell you as far as Barnes and Thornburg, there's no legal requirement to pay. And I have the documentation and the law to support that. Will there be ramifications? Will they be upset because they're owed $37,000 on a glorified FOIA case? They're going to be upset. But I'm telling this board, the mayor, and the residents, you're not obligated to pay it. And I have emails with me today that I advised that firm that they did not have a valid retention agreement
Mr. Mayor, we can't hear.
for them to be paid $600 an hour on that case. Where it stands right now, they have withdrawn from that case. There's been no resolution, there's been no discovery, and if they want to make it a case, I think the press would be very interested in seeing that this municipality, that's $700,000 in the hole, is paying a downtown law firm $37,000 on a FOIA case. And they've been advised in multiple emails from my office that the retention agreement is not valid because it was never posted, it was never on an agenda and voted by any board.
So you're saying that, excuse me. So you're saying that if I'm being sued, I'm not afforded representation.
That was for the Barnes and Thornburg.
Yes.
Correct.
So
That, it was referred, the village referred it to the third-party administrator, and you have the legal opinion from your third-party administrator that there was no coverage for that case before that case was assigned to Barnes and Thornburg by whoever in the village at the time.
Okay, so you're saying that when litigation was brought against me by the trustee, that I had no recourse, I had to go to a third party, even though the trustee had their own, asking for the board to pay for their lawyer, that's okay, but when I go get a lawyer, the board can vote not to pay that lawyer. Okay, I'm just trying
No,
to...
sir, you're incorrect.
Okay.
The board, this village has not paid for that trustee's attorney to bring that lawsuit.
That's on here too. That's on here too. That attorney for the case is already on here to be paid.
Which law firm is that?
Mitch, Rosenthal?
No, John Murphy from Rosenthal is the law firm that was assigned by the village board to investigate
okay.
Dr. Straughter and
Now,
Gowizawadi.
And the second thing, you're saying that the case was Mitchell, Gray T. Mitchell, so that particular lawyer is not also going to get paid because it wasn't approved by the board?
That is correct. You did not go to the third-party administrator to seek if there would be defense counsel assigned to you on that case. It is a case where you are not honoring an ordinance you signed. You're not honoring a contract that was not vetoed by you. You're not honoring a court decision a few weeks ago where the Judge Demokopoulos stated and entered a TRO, a temporary restraining order, saying that the village board had authority to execute that ordinance and to also, the lawsuit was filed because you were not honoring the ordinance and the contract, and you would not allow Christopher Williams to work as the village administrator. That's in the record. You've admitted that through your counsel in the pleadings. So the court has already stated that the ordinance was authorized under the law by the Board of Trustees. The court has stated and ordered that the contract is valid under state law. Not once, but twice, most recently last Friday.
Okay, so now I understand now where the motion came from. So in accordance with that, it's okay to pay your $85,000 that we owe for Olison, but I mean, for the money that I was sued, I'm sorry, the lawyer that I went out and got, which was under $200 to represent me, I couldn't get the lawyers that we had for corporate counsel to represent me because they were suing me. So I had to go out and get another. So you're saying I should have went to a third party. Why didn't they go to a third party or whatever, get whoever it is? But they went, but I had to go and get whoever I could through a third party. I didn't bring this up. So I had to go and I had to settle for whoever I could get, but the board was able to get the corporate counsel to defend them in court and have corporate counsel cross-examine me in court, the same person that this village is paying to represent the village, cross-examine me on the stand, but I wasn't able, I couldn't get who I felt comfortable with. I had to go to a third-party administrator and get whoever they felt that they could get for whatever it is that they did. So that's what you're saying. Okay, I understand now, and I understand. So I will accept. I understand. I will accept the motion to not to transfer, to separate.
No,
I'm saying that to separate the accounts payable for, I think it's 5 different items.
it's 6 different, motion to pay the accounts payable, and then the 6 ones, the other 6 to be voted on separately.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Bell.
Yes.
Trustee Brewer.
Yes.
Trustee Grant. Trustee Kuzensky.
Yes.
Trustee Todd.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to table invoice for ADP.
It was moved by trustee Brewer, second by trustee Williams. Again, reason?
This is table, there's no discussion.
I have to tell, okay, wait a minute, maybe I need to explain. You have invoices here, you have bills here. You sit at home, you come to the meeting, to the board, whatever, but life does go on. And when these vendors call and ask for their money, and I tell them the board tabled it, and they say, when can they expect to get paid? I have to tell them, we don't know until you decide on when you want to do it. Or is there a reason why? Are you looking for more information? Is it something that you felt that they didn't do? I need to give them a reason when they make this phone call and they don't get their payment. I'm asking again, why are you not paying ADP? I just asked for it. Can I get a reason why it's being tabled?
The reason, I make a motion to table ADP because I'm waiting for additional information. I talked to Village Administrator Williams about this. There has been an ongoing problem with getting information relating to ADP. We don't know who, what, and where. We don't have a contract or any of that stuff. So again, I'm going back and asking, I make a motion to table the ADP. And this is an ongoing problem for the last 3-4 months. I can't get information.
Until you get more information. That's what you're saying?
Yep. Yes. Not ADP. No, no, no. No.
Okay, there's a motion and second to table. I thought there was a second. Yeah, there was a motion and second that the invoice for ADP for $213.94 be tabled until you get more information, which I don't know what information you're looking for, but that's when they call, I'll just, okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to table alert all. This particular, explanation, this particular invoice is comes from the fire department. If I'm not mistaken, it should have been paid out of the foreign fire fund. There are some issues there, and I also talked to the village administrator, Williams, about this issue, and it was actually paid through credit card, but now they want us to reimburse them without any receipts. So I want to table that invoice.
Second.
Did I hear you say it was paid for?
It was paid by credit card, personal credit card, and it should be came out of the foreign fire fund.
So you said it was paid for by a credit card.
Personal credit card.
So you don't want to pay that credit card back? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Not without receipts.
Pardon me?
Not
so
without receipts.
I don't know who used the credit card.
I don't know.
But if it was paid for by a credit card, you're saying you don't want to reimburse that credit card?
It didn't have any receipts.
Pardon me?
It didn't have any receipts. There's a second on the floor.
Trustee, let me, I'm really trying. I really am trying. But I know how to run a meeting. I don't need you to
I
tell
didn't
me
say
there's a second on the
anything.
floor.
Wait a minute.
I don't
Oh,
need
is
you
that
to
what
tell
you're
me
talking about? I'm
second on the
sorry.
floor.
Okay.
I don't need you to tell me that.
All
I'm just
right.
asking the question so I can have clarity.
Mm.
Again, when I'm asked these questions, I can know what I'm talking about to whoever I need to talk to. That's all I'm asking.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
from what the trustee just said, if it was paid by a credit card from a different individual, why is it on the accounts payable listed under Alert All? That would lead me to believe that whoever paid with a credit card, Alert All has been paid. And
Where do you see Alert All at?
It says,
It's on the,
motion to approve, Alert All, table it. But
Okay,
now I'm hearing
maybe I'm
that,
looking at the wrong one. I'm looking for, okay, which one are we talking about? The $1,300, right?
yeah.
It says reimbursement to fire department for fire protection. That's what I see.
Fire prevention material.
Fire prevention, okay, I didn't see alert, I don't see nothing on here that says Alert All.
that's why I'm saying the
That's the
motion
name of-
may need to be restated. It's
No,
not-
I'm saying, you said Alert All.
I said Alert All because
I don't
that's,
see nothing on here that says that. I'm looking at what I
here's
see.
the invoice for Alert All.
Okay, well, I don't
Okay.
have that,
Oh,
trustee.
well, okay, I'm sorry.
The motion on the accounts payable does not say Alert All. It was paid by,
Okay, I don't know that, that's what I'm
That's-
saying.
I'm trying to clarify,
I don't
sir.
know that, well.
I'm just trying to bring clarity.
You said you got a invoice, so you still don't wanna, you saying you want to, what else is it that you want? So they can, I guess, pay their credit card. But what is it that you want? I'm asking, what is it that you want so you can be reimbursed or whatever? That's all I'm
Let me
asking.
have that. Let me have that. Okay, it's not on the accounts payable, so I'm.
It's not on the accounts payable. What,
It says the vendor's name is the fire department.
okay, it's not, so what I'm looking at is not what you're talking about?
I got this out of.
What I'm looking at here on page, whatever page this is not what you're talking about. Page 5, I think it is. Is that what you're referring to?
I'm referring to account alert.
I don't see
I
the
mean,
account
alert
alert.
all.
I don't see that. I don't see
No,
that.
no, it's,
What is the amount, trustee? May I ask what the amount?
1,300. It's on page,
It's right here.
5.
That's what
At
I
the
said.
top.
I said that, trustee.
Yeah, that's the one.
It doesn't say account, alert all or nothing. That's what I asked you. Is this what you were talking about? You said you wanted an invoice.
There you go.
You have an invoice. So now what is the reason that you don't want to reimburse the credit card?
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna table this particular invoice because it's not clear who paid this, for this $1,300, expenditure. Now, again, I talked to the people involved and I'm they're giving me a bunch of runaround, so I'm not quite sure who's supposed to be paying what and what is it for. So therefore, I'd like to table it so I can get some additional information on this particular invoice. And if you look on accounts payable, it is not on it as Alert All. So I don't know who's supposed to be paying for it.
I don't even know what okay. You're saying one is the other. So whoever used the credit card to pay this from the fire department or whatever, you don't want to reimburse that.
Yeah.
And you said that you got a invoice, but you're not. Glad I don't.
Mr. Mayor,
I think you should have said over.
I'm just trying to get clarity before I vote, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
From what I'm understanding, there was an invoice from a company, Alert All, that was paid by an individual. That individual would like to be reimbursed. From what I'm hearing, we don't have a receipt from the individual who paid for the invoice. Had the invoice come on the accounts payable in the name of the company, then we would be paying the company directly. Because someone else paid the company, we need a receipt to show that it's been paid.
Okay.
Otherwise, we could virtually be reimbursing an individual where the bill did not get paid and get a past due payment bill from the company. We need proof that whoever is looking to get reimbursed.
My question is, the receipt that trustee Brewer has, is that the receipt from Alert All?
Is that where you got the receipt from?
Yes.
Are you saying a receipt or invoice? I'm sorry, I still need clarity.
Not a receipt and invoice.
It's an invoice,
It's
not
an
a receipt.
invoice.
Does that invoice show up being paid?
Well, it can't be paid till we approve it.
I haven't seen,
Does that invoice show does that invoice show to be paid?
Yes.
It shows that it's been paid.
By a credit card.
I
It has a credit card number on it, but I have no idea who it's supposed to belong.
Trustee, does that invoice
Has last four digits of a credit card number on there.
Does that invoice show that it's been paid?
The credit card has last four digits on
Mr. Mayor,
the invoice.
Mr. Mayor, if there's an invoice that shows the credit card was used for payment and Alert All has accepted that payment, then that means that the payment was made. The receipt is the fact that the invoice has 4 digits of a credit card number that was used to pay that invoice. That invoice will not come back for payment.
But,
May I please speak? I need to speak. Excuse me? No, I am, because you guys are going around in circles. Now, what's on accounts payable?
Point of order,
States,
wait a minute.
I asked to be recognized. Please give me a break. Okay, so what's on the accounts payable is not Alert All. What's on the accounts payable is the Sauk Village Fire Department. So, your motion needs to be amended to say that you would like to table that particular payment. Because accounts all is no place in your accounts payable.
That's exactly what I said at the beginning of the motion.
But they didn't hear you either. Okay? So I conferred with the, Bernice, he wants to see the invoice now and compare it with that. And I conferred with the attorney and he said that you need to amend your motion. People, we're going around and around in circles. So can we just amend that motion? Excuse me. Can we just amend the motion to table the fire department and then move on to your other ones?
Okay, first back, hold on. The way I'm looking at this right now, I don't understand, so I'll accept a motion to rescind an emotion and to put this back on to be paid or reimbursed. So I will ask whoever made the motion to table this, I would ask them to rescind it. Okay, no, I mean to rescind their motion.
Don't you need to like rescind the original motion and then?
That's what I'm asking them to
correct.
rescind. Whoever made that motion. Who made the motion to? Bernice, you made the motion to amend and to take this off. I'm asking you to amend that motion. Or rescind that motion, I'm sorry.
I can rescind, amend from your.
No, you can rescind your motion. And whoever did the second, I'm asking them to rescind that. So it has to be trustee, I'm going all the way back to at the beginning, so I'm asking trustee Brewer to to rescind her motion.
I rescind the motion for
For the table.
Yeah.
Trustee Williams, are you going to rescind your second?
I did not second this motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It came from the outside.
Did I happen to second it because Because it goes so far, I don't remember. There was no second.
Okay, since somebody seconded it, because I wouldn't have asked the question.
back there.
I wouldn't have asked the question if it wasn't. Someone seconded it. Okay, now moving forward with this particular line item that's on the accounts payable. Are there any questions about this particular line item? The reimbursement to the fire department for fire prevention.
The reimbursement is to an individual, not the fire department, correct? Well, the way this reads, it states that the fire department has a credit card.
Right. I'm sorry. Give me a minute. It's very hard to hear, and I apologize. And we're trying to conduct this business, and it's very hard to hear as we're trying to hear the other trustees. So I do apologize, but if you can.
Okay, let me, I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna ask this question because I see this person's name is on here. So if you could, Mr. Senator, could you come up to the mic and kind of enlighten us what this is?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What that is an invoice for fire prevention material that Mr. Myers needed to hand out at the schools.
Okay.
Okay, when we went to order it, they said they could not fulfill the order without getting payment up front.
Okay.
Therefore, we gave them that credit card number to pay for the services
Okay.
from the fire department, so that money is being reimbursed back to the fire department.
Okay, so the fire department has a credit card?
That's correct.
Okay, so this was just to pay that credit card for all these different things that are on, right?
Right, what that is a $1,300 invoice to fire prevention material that the company, because the village has such bad credit, they would not extend credit, they wanted payment in advance.
Okay.
Mr.
Now,
Mayor?
yes.
As I stated earlier, on the invoice, it does show that a credit card was used for payment. The payment has been accepted. I, for one, am not going to ask that this be tabled. I'm going to ask that it be paid.
Thank you.
The reimbursement should be paid.
Yeah, the money came from the fire department, it goes back to the fire department, not to any individual.
All right, next item. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Captain Setterway. Next item. Oh, okay. So, okay. Well,
Mr. Mayor,
let's
because it wasn't tabled, it goes back onto the accounts payable. It will be approved with the accounts
I'm
payable.
just saying,
Unless there's a motion to table or remove it.
What's the next item? Barnes and Thornburg.
Make a motion to pay invoice 226842 for Barnes and Thornburg in the amount of $37,076.30. We gotta discuss it.
I hear a second.
Second.
It's moved by trustee Brewer, second by trustee Jazinski to pay Barnes and Thornburg in the amount of $37,076.30. Madam Clerk, please.
Discussion, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any question?
Mr. Mayor, this particular invoice is by Barnes and Thornburg. As you heard from the attorney before, we're not obligated to pay $37,000 for what we call a board by FOIA request. The information Barnes and Thornburg have withdrawn from the case since then. We don't have any discovery or anything like that. There was no engagement letter with Barnes and Thornburg, but I do believe this is only a 3-month bill, but it might be 2 months, and they charge us $37,076.30. So that's my reason for putting it on here and to get it voted.
So I'm understanding.
Wait a minute.
I'm not going to ask, to keep asking that we have all this back and forth. Well, it becomes a habit that we keep doing this.
Use the mic.
Miss Hopkins, if you don't want, Miss Hopkins, if you don't want to comply, please go outside, please, because you're not going to keep disrupting this meeting because you feel you keep saying I'm sorry. So we're trying to discuss business. If it's not to your liking, we understand that. But to have outbursts and continue to disrupt this meeting, we're not going to accept that. Trustee Brewer, I understand what you're saying, that you felt that $37,000 for whatever it is, and you don't want to pay it, and I guess the board doesn't want to pay it, but as I stated before, I'm looking at bills that from other law firms that are charging us $34,000 for 1 month. So if this is what the board wants to do, is there any other questions on regards to Barnes and Thornburg? Okay, call the roll.
Trustee Dale?
No.
Trustee Brewer?
No.
Trustee Grant? Trustee Jazinski?
No.
Trustee Williams?
No.
Trustee Todd?
No.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to pay Attorney Greg T. Mitchell for work on Village versus Mayor Burgess pending in circuit court in the amount of $11,693.10.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Brewer, second by Trustee Bell. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, the reason that I put this one on here is because Mr. Mitchell, according to your own words, is, you and the mayor are going to appeal this decision made by the circuit court, and it's going to be ongoing expenses for the village, citing because we won the lawsuit in favor of Christopher Williams, and he's going to be our village administrator. We went to court twice on that, and right now we owe $11,000, but however, if you keep going back, you know the bills are going to go up. So with that being said, we have to recognize that the invoice is there, but you know, it's a little.
So you're not paying it for what reason?
First of all, Mr. Mayor, you weren't authorized to spend that kind of money on
How do I
attorney.
know? Wait a minute, Trustee. What do you mean I wasn't authorized?
If I'm not mistaken, trustees have hold the purse strings.
I didn't ask you that. You said I wasn't authorized. Where did that come from?
Okay, let me rephrase that. The mayor can hire anybody he wants, but he has to make sure that the trustees approve the payments.
Why would the trustees approve a payment that the trustees are suing me? I mean, I don't understand that. So you're saying you're not paying it because you didn't authorize it to happen? Is that the reason? I just want to write, that you're not authorizing payment because you didn't authorize me to get an attorney. Is that what it is?
You're not authorizing the money.
Okay.
I didn't say anything about you. I said
No.
the money.
You're not authorizing to pay the attorney because you didn't authorize for me to have an attorney. Is that what it is?
We're not authorizing the money.
Mr. Mayor?
First of all, you don't know what's going to happen. I didn't say that we were going to appeal anything. You didn't hear me say anything. But you know, there again, I still don't understand why. But you're saying that you're not paying this because you was not authorized by the trustees to me to get an attorney, basically. Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I believe that this has already been explained, and I think for those that don't understand, that prior to the mayor or anyone spending any money. The board is the one that has to make the approval of it. The problem with these two particular attorneys was neither one of them had received a letter of engagement which said that the board agreed to pay their bill when they did the work. Number one, as far as Barnes and Thornburg are concerned, that's a $600 attorney. As a resident, I'm appalled that my mayor would think that we can afford as a village an attorney for $600 an hour.
Trustee,
Excuse me. Point of order, I'm speaking,
Trustee,
Mr.
are we
Mayor.
talking about the...
Mr. Mayor, I was speaking.
But you're going
Mr. Mayor.
off topic.
I will go back on topic. I will go back on
Thornburg is
topic.
gone. We're talking about Greg
Okay, let's
Mitchell.
go back to this one. I'll be happy to go back to this one. Again, Mr. Mayor, we have a third-party administrator that handles our legals. And if we have a question, we go to that third-party administrator. That third-party administrator can give us a legal opinion before we have to decide if we have to go elsewhere. That third-party administrator also can assign an attorney. The problem with this particular case is, and the reason why we're saying we don't want to pay this bill is, we had a legal contract, we had an ordinance that was signed by the mayor, we had every right to let Mr. Williams come to work. The mayor took it upon himself to stop a legal appointment from coming through the door and working. The judge even said last Friday, why are we here? Why are we back? And in closing statements, the judge said that we have done, the mayor has done irreparable damage to our residents. We cannot afford to continue to put this burden on the residents because the mayor felt that Mr. Williams' appointment was not what he wanted to do. The board members had a legal contract. The board members had an ordinance signed by the mayor. Going to court was entirely unnecessary. That's my opinion. We have a motion and a second. I think maybe we should call the roll.
Okay, first of all, since you're going to give a recap report, that's pretty nice. Oh, you don't want to hear me? I'm sorry. It was okay for Trustee Williams to speak, but now when I try to enlighten what really happened, nobody wants to hear that. Okay. So that being said, it was a travesty on both parts, as the judge stated. I don't know where it came from that I put the village at harm. I did whatever. I held the budget up. That was also mentioned. Yes, no, that was mentioned at the court.
No, you said it last Tuesday.
No, that was mentioned at the court. It was mentioned by yourself that I held the budget up. You didn't say that. Yes, you did. And then also, it was stated that.
Are we off topic?
No, I'm asking your question. Oh. See, that's the problem, Trustee Williams. That's the problem. No,
well, now we're talking about court. And
I'm saying that's the problem. I respected what you said. I didn't say a word when you talked. I listened to you. But now it's old. But you're right. This village is not going a doggone place until this board comes together and quit being personal. Quit lying, quit telling, and quit deciding on who does and who does not get whatever. If I can't have the ball, then the game stops. We need to stop. I said this before, and I'll keep on saying it as long as it's necessary. We're not going to talk about getting a store for what? Who wants to come in here and work? You don't want to pay them because they don't conform to what you want. You're asking for people to come in here and work. You ask people to come here and do trade. And this is what you have. Every week we have a debate when you're here. The 2 weeks you weren't here, we had a 3.5 years smooth. Every week we have a debate.
Oh my God, now that's not personal, is it? And I only missed 1 week. That's not personal.
Yeah, well, it's the truth.
Point of order.
If you guys...
Point of order. Can we please have a roll call?
We have a motion and a second on the floor for this invoice. Please, let's stick to the...
That's pretty good when you hit the spot.
Oh my God, personal attack.
That's not a personal attack.
Yes, it was, Mr. Mayor. Can we please have a roll call? Can we please have a roll call?
That's a fact.
Oh my God.
I know the truth will set you free. I'm just making a I'm
Point
making
of
an
order, roll call,
observation.
There's a point of order, please. We've got a motion and a
I'm
second
making
for
an
this invoice.
observation.
And you're going on making observations.
Okay, well,
and how we can't get a grocery store.
I'm making an
left,
observation
please.
that
This has nothing to do
if
with this
you
invoice.
decide, if the board decides that
No,
they
I'm-
don't want to pay these bills, and you decide that you don't want to pay these lawyer bills, I'm just making an observation. There will be ramifications behind it. But it's okay to pay some lawyers and not okay to pay others. If you're looking at a big problem, is the only thing I'm saying. If you don't want to pay the bills, there's nothing I can do about it. If you decide you don't want to pay them, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just making an observation that if you continue to do that, then there's going to be a problem. That's the observation I'm making. So, excuse me? I'm sorry, what'd you say, sir?
We don't need to recognize, can we please, it's out of order, can we?
But
please-
it always is, because I can't,
Would you please,
because
Mr.
this
Mayor,
is what
continue
you
to
do.
Call the roll, please.
So now you want to put the Greg T. Mitchell, you want to vote to, the vote on the floor is to accept his invoice. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brewer? No. Trustee Grant? Trustee Jazinski? No. Trustee Todd?
No.
Trustee Williams?
No.
Trustee Bell?
Nope.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to table invoice 16269 and 16488 from Payne McKinney with a total of $4,587.50. The reason I want this table is that I've talked to the village administrator for the last 3 months to try to get some information, some supporting documents from Payne McKinney. I understand that they have been around since forever, but we can't get any information from Payne McKinney regarding summaries, how much is in the bank, what are the work products they're giving us. They're charging us $2,000 and $3,000 every month for something we have no idea what it's for, can't get any information. And if I want to reiterate that I've talked to the village administrator, I have called them myself, sent several texts, and still can't get any information. So with that, I would like to table these two invoices until we find some additional information or some kind of supporting documents to substantiate this payment for $4,587.50.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Jazinski?
No.
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Wait a minute, you just, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Williams?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Brewer?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve invoices 25753, 25852, 25853, 26053, 26054, 26262, 26263, 26264 from Olson and Sturr, except for the following entries. Invoice 26262 for $123.75. On page 3 for $141.25, $247.50 on page 4, excluding $1,278.75 from page 7 on invoice 26053, leaving a total amount due of $82,885.01.
You said on page 3?
Page 3 is $41.25 and $247.50 on page 4. Those are the ones I want to.
Are these for who?
This is for Olson and Sturrs.
I don't see nothing on page 3 or 4 of those in this.
No, I'm sorry, I have the invoice here. This, it was too cumbersome there, so maybe I have to look at the actual invoice.
Excuse me, trustee?
Yes?
She was giving it to the mayor to see.
I'm trying to find out what?
Oh, you want to see copy?
No, I want to see on here, what is it that you're talking about? I don't see that for $100 and some.
You have to look at the actual invoice.
Trustee, I'm looking at the accounts payable. I'm looking at what you just stated. I don't see a few of them that's on there. I see one page with Olds and Sturdy. I'm going by what I'm looking at, not what the invoice, with every invoice that you have right there. I'm looking at what's on the accounts payable. What is it on the accounts payable is it that you don't want to pay?
Now, let me have that back.
You have accounts payable in front of you, correct?
Mr. Mayor, the invoices for Olson and Sturgis, you have to get the invoice in order to pull out the entries.
I'm not, okay, okay, first of all, I need, the invoice, I'm sure has a number. On here is the invoices that are being paid or being presented. This is what I'm going by, the ones that are on the accounts payable. Is that number which you discussed on this accounts payable?
The entry that I want to, all these accounts payable, all these invoices are there to be paid. And then I ask for to accept the following entries on two particular invoices. So all these invoices here are on the accounts payable list.
No, they're not, because you said there was one for $100 and some. I don't see one here for $100 and some.
Mayor, what she's saying, the invoice number she called out.
Okay.
That's what's on the bill.
That's not, but that's not how you.
But that's the whole invoice, it's got.
Okay, well then that's what I need to see. So you're saying you're going to separate and separate out of an invoice a payment? Is that what you're saying?
I'm looking at the invoices, okay? I went through the invoices and there's things
I don't have
on there.
that. I don't have invoices in front of me.
Okay.
So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, of these invoices that are on accounts payable, which of these invoices that are on here that you want to pay or don't want to pay?
I want to pay 25753.
Wait a minute. Okay,
Oh, I haven't got to that part. She said, you said the ones I want to pay.
okay.
25753, 25852, 25853, 26053, 26054, 26262, 26263, 26264. Those are the ones I want paid. But
Okay, those are the ones you want paid.
Right.
Okay,
Now we have the exceptions
what?
for the following entries to be taken off some of the invoices. Invoice 26262 for $123.75.
Wait a minute, hold it. You want to go into that invoice and take away a payment?
Yes.
How?
There's invoices.
I understand that, but how can, you can't, you want to go and deduct a certain amount out of an invoice,
Yes.
and you want to do this today. You didn't try to do this last week, or when you got this at the beginning of this week, or yesterday. So now we gotta do math and find out how much it is we gotta take away because you have to approve it, the amount. So you're saying out of all this, you wanna take away something that's in that particular invoice, trustee? And that's, why didn't you do this Monday? So then this could have been presented and subtracted so we can know. I don't have a calculator up here to know how much to subtract.
Somebody at 123.75, 41.25, 247.50, and $1,278.75. Anybody got a calculator?
I don't know why people are like. So basically, you're approving $130,000 worth of invoices.
No,
That's what that is?
no, I'm taking some of that.
You're taking some, okay, it was $139,000. You're talking about taking away $3,000 or $4,000. So that's $135,000.
No, because that includes the other attorneys.
That's the other.
Okay, well, I don't know, I'm sorry, trustee, I don't know how you can even do this without having some numbers ahead of time. To be able to subtract X. So, in that case, I mean, so you can come up with some other numbers or something, we can.
Mr. Mayor,
for an hour.
can we have other discussion?
Is it about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So the motion, if I understood her correctly, when she first made the motion, she read off some items that are within an invoice that she would like to pull those particular items, but continue to pay the rest of the invoice, as well as other invoices for Olson and Sturk. And I thought I heard her say at the end of her motion that she had a dollar amount, that once all those things were pulled out, that that's what it would be. If this is going to be a bone of contention, I would prefer that we pay all the invoices in their entirety and deal with this at another time. If Trustee Brewer feels that there's some incorrect things in the invoice, perhaps we can get a credit later. But I think that we've pretty much beat this one to death a little bit. And in my other response to the accounts payable for the legal fees, we were told a week or two ago that we don't have an agent report, but just so people know, these invoices are from July, August, and September. These aren't just current bills. So I would say that we pay Olson and Sturk and deal with the situation.
I understand that, but why every time there's something that it always has to be a but we don't have an agent report, but we don't have this. These bills were held for a reason, and now, you know, I'm understanding now how much these bills were, but to keep going back as if to say, well, you know, I told you this, or, that's what I'm talking about. That's the type of language that personally I'm tired of.
Are we still on target here for the
No,
motion?
I'm saying, I'm trying to find out.
We need to stay on the motion.
Trustee, I'm trying to find out what do you want to pay?
Well, can I clarify something? The invoices that, the entries from the invoices, add up to $1,691.25. That is what I want to take off. Everything else can be paid.
Out of 120, out of 30, 40, 50, out of $184,000, you want to take off 1,000, okay.
$1,691.25.
And the reason, again?
Because these particular invoices, after I looked at them, I have questions. I sent a email to Mr. Grafton for some clarity, but he hasn't gotten back to me. So I don't think we should be paying for stuff that has something, questions about it. So I returned this email to Mr. Grafton, maybe he could clarify some of the expenditures on the invoices.
I don't know what it, I didn't write down the amount, I don't know where the invoice is coming out of, which invoices are you referring to, what number, and what particular bill of that invoice that you're referring to, so only thing I can do is, you're asking for whatever it is, and it's not in writing, I don't have anything to know what you're talking about. You said you did?
I said I will.
Oh.
You don't want to say.
All right, you want to not pay those bills. You want to pay everything else, all the legal services that were rendered from Olson and Sturgis, except for those items that you're talking about.
Yes, it's 4 different, entries.
Is there a second for this?
Yes.
Okay. Any question, any other questions, Madam Clerk?
Let me clarify this. You actually, because this is how crazy it gets, that you want to pay Odelson and Stark minus those.
Yes.
So when I vote no, I want all of Odelson and Stark paid, so I'm going to vote no.
The motion is pay minus that amount.
Yes.
Just to clarify, she's asked us to look into it. There's 3 or 4 entries from work from other attorneys in my office, and I have to.
Okay, thanks for clarifying, yes.
Okay.
Williams,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Grant, Kaczynski.
Yes.
So trustee Grant, you know that to me tonight or first thing in the morning?
Is there anything else on the Crown family?
No, that's it.
I'll accept the motion to approve the ordinance for the establishment of enterprise zone, subject to the Enterprise Zone Act of the state of Illinois. Everybody got a copy of this a couple of weeks ago. So we have to vote on it to accept the establishment for an enterprise zone. I'll accept the motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Williams, second by trustee Jazinski. Any questions? Madam Clerk.
You called me first last time, yes, you did.
Trustee Williams.
Sorry.
Yes.
Trustee Bell.
Yes.
Trustee Brewer. Yes. Trustee Grant. Trustee Kaczynski.
Yes.
Trustee Todd.
Yes.
Motion carried. Forgot to mention that there will be a town hall meeting October 16th here at Village Hall at 7 o'clock. And also, we're starting early to get our Veterans Day Appreciation Program started. If anybody knows of any veterans, we will be doing our annual Veterans Appreciation Day here at the Village Hall, 11/11/11, November 11th at 11 o'clock here at the Village Hall. So if you know of any veterans, that, especially ones that live in the village, please come out because there'll be a full program. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of befuddled of how we paying bills in the village, but the board pays or doesn't pay for whatever, and it's a shame that you put someone or
I didn't bring one today.
that you ask somebody to do services in the village. That doesn't show good pay record, but that's what the board wants to do, and then has to deal with it later because, you know, that's up to the board, so they control that part. That being said, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?